series, but it will be that LeBlanc locked in first, and that means we get the Viego coming across on LNG's side.
Yeah, with the Lee Sin banned as well, that's the key thing, because we've seen this Viego get kind of bodied by Lee Sin across the course of this series when it was in the jungle role. But also remember, for LNG, this is a flex because Ale played it in the top lane last game. It will be locked in. So I think the two most powerful picks of this series so far locked in, and that Varus will go down for light as well.
I feel like if you're on EDG's side, though, you just take something like the Ashe here and make sure that you're set up for success. You could even take your jungler if you wanted to on this rotation and give yourself a crazy strong matchup, because you've now got bot lane that's in a winning position. Not much that can go against this LeBlanc in the mid lane as well, unless you want to go back towards Lysandra. That hasn't quite worked out very well for anybody in this series thus far, but we'll have to see what the plan is going to be here for EDG as they do lock in the jungler.
Yep, so jungle locked in, and we've seen a lot of AD carry bans across the course of this series. I'm not going to talk about Twitch because I seriously doubt we get to see that one locked in. The Ashe comes through, and it will just be that setup for Jiejie, for Scout, to be the primary carries here. Now for LNG, they have to decide where they want to go. Will we see the Lysandra is my big question for Icon.
I mean, I prefer to see something like the Syndra, or maybe something, even if they want to, I know they're hovering the Aurelia there for a second, where you can actually like play aggressive into the matchup setup. And also when you've got like the poke damage that can come through from the Varus and the Syndra, you've got great setup that can go for the Viego. It feels really, very strong, but we are actually going to get the Zac locked in again here for Tarzan. I'm not as sold on it this time around, because Olaf definitely a jungler that can invade and play off the strengths of his lanes to make this Zac's life a living hell.
Also, it kind of removes the potential flexibility of the Viego, right? So these bans, you already know that Ale's taking the Viego, you already know that the Zac is going into the jungle, so it's a bit easier for EDG here to get some good mid lane bans away. Unless we do see Icon take the Viego to the mid lane, that's always possible. Kennen, though, banned away by LNG.
Yeah, I think you're right, though. EDG will be looking to target ban this mid lane, right? Lysandra may be taken off the board. I've been calling for the Lysandra all series long, but we're not going to see that, it looks like. Ryze banned away, which is a little bit more curious, because I feel like he can do relatively okay as LeBlanc into Ryze, but certainly has been one of the big power picks for Icon, so just taking that one off the board.
Yeah, certainly a pick that has not been seen a massive amount, or at least today, but over the course of top 4, it's been very popular, right? We have 4 mid laners in the top 4 that love that Ryze pick. So not too surprising to see the ban. As Gnar is taken off the board by LNG, and again, just trying to set Ale up with a positive matchup in the top lane. And I'm really curious where Flandre is going to go in terms of the top lane matchup here, what he opts into against the Viego.
Yeah, I could see something maybe like a Jace coming through here. You work off like long range Ashe. You've got the engage setup that provides you there like the easy accelerated shock blast alongside the damage that can come through from, well, a Jace, or sorry, from the LeBlanc, and also Olaf being able to follow up. So maybe you want to go that direction. Flandre,
I want to see Kled.
Has kind of like gone towards Set as his most played this split, so maybe he opts into that, does really well against Ale, can bully him in the early stages.
Like, I'm just saying, Kled gives you a lot more engage for the Olaf. It's got anti-heal in the kit. I'm not saying it's the perfect pick. I'm just saying it's the perfect pick, you know. Braun locked in here for Lwandy at the bottom side.
Yeah, I mean, going for pretty much a, hey, we're going to opt out of this matchup, and also trying to deny away the Braum Ashe obnoxious bot lane, and something that could do really well against like engages coming through from Tarzan and trying to like dissuade Ale as well. It looks like EDG hovering the Jace here. We just talked about how strong that could be. And then if you pair this with a really good engage support, something like the Rel, a Leona as well for this bottom side of the map, you can then set up this nice team comp where you got a ton of poke that comes through from Ashe, Jace, and LeBlanc. Even the all-in potential coming through from the LeBlanc. And you got great CC and setup with this Ashe.
I have to say, this draft looking a lot nicer for EDG than the last one did, right? We saw a full close range hard engage composition versus Kennen in game number 3. Certainly not the same picture this time around. Meiko goes with the Alistair. And now towards LNG to see what this last solo lane is going to be. Looks like we were correct. The Viego will go to the top side. It will be Icon just deciding what he wants to play against Scouts LeBlanc.
Yeah, I think the Syndra, great call here. Does well against LeBlanc. You got good push as well, basically because LeBlanc has to use her distortion to try and clear the wave. You set up pretty nicely for Syndra to have a good amount of control in that matchup when it comes towards priority. And again, like things that can try and burst out this Olaf when he tries to run in, try and set up a CC chain when something like this Ashe is trying to set up, the Jace is trying to set up. I like that we've got these long range engage tools from LNG to try and go against the EDG range discrepancy.
See if they'll have the opportunity as we have our two compositions locked in here, Dagda, and it feels like even though there's a lot of pressure on both teams in this game, we are in the bottom side of the bracket. Remember, this is an elimination game. The faces across EDG, very cool, calm, collected. They don't seem worried at all about the previous game and how disastrously it went for them. And once again, when I look at these drafts, I'm thinking early game plays from LNG. It's what I've been thinking, both stylistically for the team and about a lot of their drafts across the course of this series. And it feels like Dagda, just like what we saw in the first 3 games of this series, it's going to be down to LNG being proactive and EDG trying to answer those plays once more.
Yeah, I think you've got a lot of kind of aspects that you can look to work with here, right? LNG, I think they've got good position on bot side of the map, so they can look towards these early dragons if they want to. And you do also kind of want to give a little bit of a hand towards Flandre in the early stages, just get a bit of vision control for him so he can actually punish this matchup against Ale. Whereas when you look across at the LNG side, it's a little bit different because you've got this Zac who can come in from funky angles and try and set up plays, but the only real place that you've got to facilitate that is going to be in your top side with Ale and Icon having that follow-up CC, or at least the damage to follow up on those.
Well, Dagda, it's about time that we head onto the Rift here for game number 4. LNG once again against the ropes. Their miracle run, a single game away from being ended, but they will not allow that to happen anytime soon. Tarzan with this Zac, once again, 2 games in a row here. The Zac Viego top jungle lock-in duo. And we'll see if it's going to work out for them. Once more, though, Scout has this LeBlanc, and let's be honest, LeBlanc has been one of the biggest highlight picks of this entire series. I
mean, the entirety of playoffs, right? It's been such a strong pick in that mid lane. And now we're getting the Syndra into it. I think that you're kind of making it, you're giving yourself a bit of an easier time here as Icon, and by default helping out Tarzan in that regard as well, because if you had like the losing mid lane matchup and this losing top lane matchup, it would have been so easy for Jiejie to try and power through, but at least having some semblance of control in the mid lane to avoid some of these invades, although they say that.
Yeah, Icon will be spotted out here. The undertow hits. That's as slow as Jiejie is not showing any signs of slowing down. The blast code, can it save him? The route is there. He needs to get through the Nexus gate here, but the damage comes through, and it's first blood for Scout right off of the bat.
Jiejie took that ghost and just ran at Icon, managing to pick up first blood. Now Icon forced to try and TP back to mid. You've got Jiejie who's able to take this camp away from Tarzan as well. This is exactly how EDG wanted to start this.
Oh, it's Scout just zipping around Icon. Icon barely able to land a Q in this matchup so far. This is already a really rough start for the side of LNG. And guess what? Tarzan is on Zac. What can he do to answer the fact Jiejie is invading his top side right here? Luckily for Tarzan, he does have bot lane prio, so maybe can make an invade of his own.
I mean, it's going to be very tough to do so.
Hang on,
you can even see...
Okay, no, he's fine. He's fine.
Okay,
I was worried there.
But I was actually looking at JJ's pathing there. It looked like he was about to path directly down towards that bottom side, but you can see Viper, Meiko pushed out the waves, so they're just going to get some vision control here to spot out if Tarzan tries to go for the evade. And when Scout has full push in mid, or at least some good amount of push in mid, and also you've got bot lane that can react, I don't see Tarzan being able to evade.
Got a gank in the mid lane. Scout has been hit. Does not have his W just yet. Pulled back in. And I'm not going to lie, Dagda, he probably should have seen that one coming. As you say, Tarzan didn't have many options of what to do. Scout gets caught out. Didn't have the flash because of the level 1 play.
And that's a big win for Tarzan, getting the gold that he needed back into his hands, because you're about to see a full clear coming through from JJ of 3 quadrants of the jungle, and Scout, just as you said, not respecting it, doesn't have the distortion available, and Icon's just in perfect position to follow. But this is what we're saying for Tarzan, right? Play through your mid, play through your top. They've got the follow-up CC and follow-up burst damage that enables this Zac so well. Now we already see it once, we'll more than likely see it a second time as well.
Flandre trying to clear his waves underneath this tower. Ale already showing his dominance in this top lane. And remember, this is Flandre's counter pick. So far, not feeling very much like a counter to me as Tarzan moves to the top side. Remember, Cell Division is available for Tarzan, so if the dive works out, he'll be able to pop that. Oh, I didn't even know you could do that. Flandre, that was clean.
Really nicely done, and I like what Tarzan's trying to do, right? He's like, I've run out of farm here because of the way that this early game has gone with Jiejie, so I'm going to go and punish the fact that we had both Scout and Flandre flash in those initial stages. So even though you don't get the kill as Tarzan, you're setting up Ale for success. Look at the creeps that were lost in that top lane play, and now you're going to get a second push off while Flandre is still in base.
Tarzan does get his chickens at least the second time around here, so all things considered, while he is behind, he's not as behind as he could have been. As you say, getting a bit of gold from the kill in the mid lane definitely helps him out. But Jiejie, he's not done with bullying just yet. This Tarzan seems to know what is up here. Goes for the sweeper, knows the wolves are not stood where they're meant to be stood. That means they know where Jiejie is. But the blast cone is there. Meiko moving up to protect his jungler. And Jiejie showing absolutely no signs of stopping. They know that he's there. He just doesn't care whether they know about it or not. Icon moving over. LNG want to answer the crimes being done against Tarzan, but EDG staying as a group, and Icon's the one caught out instead. No flash available. The root comes out from the ethereal chains, and now onto Icon they run. Jiejie cuts him down with an undertow, and now the slows from Viper. Maybe they can look for more as well. The Freljord coming up trumps here as Lwandy underneath the tower. Tarzan will walk away, and Jiejie returns to the Gromp once more.
And this is why you don't pick Zac without having strong priority lanes. Tarzan, you can't go that way.
Hang on. What? LNG trying to contest regardless. The Gromp goes down. Meiko happy to tank up. And EDG walk away. They get the Gromp. They get everything they could have wanted.
And I don't know why LNG are trying to contest. Like, you already know that you're going to fall behind, right? You'd push from Viper and Meiko, but they react first. You don't have control in the mid lane either, as you already look at Scout who's pushed in there. So Icon forced to take this awkward way to get to the play first, and EDG just collapsed him. So you get one pick onto Icon, and then you still try to contest 4v3 as LNG. I don't know what they're trying to do, but it's definitely not the way they should be trying to play this early game.
And Dagda, you remember a minute ago I was like, look, Tarzan's kind of salvaged it. It's not going that bad. Well, Tarzan has gained 1 CS since I said that. And that was a good couple of minutes ago that left my mouth. It's got significantly worse since I spoke, but he does have that 1 kill. Maybe he could turn that into something. Scout in the mid lane looking for Icon, has the level 6 advantage here. Looks for the chain, actually finds it. Can't believe he was able to do that through the minion wave. Icon's low. There's a TP coming from Ale just to protect Icon's life.
The wheels are coming off very quickly from the LNG hype train. Like, this has not gone well. Zac not finding the success that he needs to and being able to farm, getting constantly punished. Now he can't even try and interact with the lanes. Icon losing in this matchup in mid as well. And look at the amount of pressure they've had to call.
Okay, good stun, but no follow-up there from Lwandy. It was a close one on Scout. You're absolutely right, though. I feel like this hype train, it's like one of those old Western movies, right? Where the train's going along the tracks, it's got precious cargo on it, and it's coming towards the rickety bridge. EDG have set the bridge up with explosives, and you just know it's going to come crashing down. The only question is when. I think that's a little overzealous. This is not a foregone conclusion.
I don't think it was zealous enough. I think you needed to add the menacing EDG twisting his mustache on the side of the road, you know?
Oh, true. That's Jiejie. That's Jiejie, because he's got a whole lot of mustaches, Olaf, this game. Red buff will be reset. Tarzan spotted that one out. And EDG kind of positioning, toying with the idea of a dive onto Ale, but with Lwandy and Tarzan here, it could backfire massively. But I think Jiejie is quite happy to just settle for his other jungle, right? It's not Tarzan's jungle at this point. This is very much Jiejie's second jungle. Flandre could be in trouble, though. Ale engaging on him already. Flandre low. Thundering Blow just to keep himself safe. Tarzan getting in range for the elastic slingshot, but won't find a window. Unless Flandre just walks up towards them. No, he's going for the fruit. It's okay. I keep panicking for Flandre here, but he's all right.
It's alright. Yeah, Jiejie, after clearing out his holiday jungle, has now come back over to start up the Rift Herald as well. And how do you try and go for this here? I mean, Tarzan is in base. Ale, you don't want any part of this. Just back off. This is EDG's now.
Yep, EDG completely in control, and this is when they win games, when they have the early game advantage. They dominate the rest of the game. That's what we saw all split along from this squad. And it's good to see it again, especially after game number 3, where it felt like LNG had found themselves an answer, but perhaps the answer was not as foolproof as they thought. And now EDG complete and utter control, and I love that we're seeing the adaptation from EDG across the series, right? They went for a super aggressive composition in game number 3, didn't work out, and they're like, okay, change it up again. We'll have a winning mid matchup, we'll have a winning jungle matchup here, and then utility in the bottom side, so there's nothing for LNG to punish.
Well, LNG are just getting punished across the board, right? You got the top lane that's going in favor of Flandre. Tarzan getting invaded on once more. I'm going to just kind of stop calling it out because at this stage he just doesn't get to farm. Also in that bot lane, Light, some of the adaptations we've seen from Varus where we've had a LeBlanc in the game is actually going back towards the Ashe build, which is the Immortal Shield bow, and also going towards the Wit's End to keep yourself safe. But not having that opportunity here means he's now vulnerable to Scout that has just got a ton of plates off of this Rift Herald put into him, alongside the kill and the early aggression he's picked up. So like, there's no real foothold for LNG right now, and EDG just keep running away with it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough start here to the game for LNG, but remember that this is a team that has found miracle wins in the past. They have found ways to pull these games out, and so much of that comes down to the creative picks that we see from LNG, like Ale on this Viego top lane. We saw it take over in game number 3. All they need is one positive skirmish, one overstep from EDG. They can take over the game. The problem is, this EDG we're talking about, this is a team that is notorious for playing pretty much as safe as is reasonable within LPL context.
Yeah, and they aren't going to give you too much. Well, if you take a WE series out of the way as well. But Flandre, force the fash. Not going to be able to get cut out. But Jiejie is getting more control of the jungle while this is all going on.
Oh, hang on. Light's in trouble here. TP coming through from Scout behind the play. He's on to Light. The chains already land. There's Lwandy. Oh, Meiko, sorry, moving in as well. I see Alistair. I say Lwandy. It's just how my brain works. But it's an easy pickup here for Scout. Beautiful TP. And now it's going to net a Drake as well. First of the game at only 11 minutes here. It's a slow Drake, but it's certainly going to be a good start for EDG.
I mean, look, there's only so much that Jiejie can do, right? He's got 2 jungles to try and clear. He's got to get back over so he can take these scuttle crabs as well. Like, Dragon just isn't on his agenda right now. But we'll get picked up for the first one. It does mean at least Tarzan playing towards Ali in this top side will get something back. But look at the bot lane, right? EDG already answering with this push from Viper.
Yeah, a couple of plates taken on the top side, but as you say, answered in the bottom lane here as Jiejie will grab that Gromp. That Gromp belongs to Jiejie. I'm not sure I've seen Tarzan take it all game except for the very first clear. But now Viper moves in to get onto this tower in the bottom side. This will be at minimum 1 plate, but I think there's some kills as well as Light is caught again. No summoners, and Lwandy not long for the world. Meiko happy to tank the tower up. Scout moves in to finish that one off. And EDG, they're giving us a masterclass this series in how to dominate a bot lane.
And Lwandy just not respecting the fact that they've just blown the flash onto the Varus. You have a Alistair whose entire job is to tank that tower, but LNG trying to react top.
Here's the thing, when you play towards the bottom side, your top laner gets hung out to dry. Flandre not quite respecting the pressure that Tarzan had there. And it does mean that in terms of plates, we're actually trading relatively evenly across the board. Because look, there's almost 4 plates taken by Ale so far.
Yeah, the big thing though is like 3 kills on towards Scout. He is massive as a result of this. And again, like, I don't know why, like Lwandy, don't respect that there's no flash. You have an Alistair who's literally designed to do this. And they just let him walk underneath the tower, pick off the 2 kills, knowing Olaf is there, and the dive's a success. And at least here in the top side, Tarzan getting some of the farm back for himself as well. Now that he knows that Olaf is on the bot side and helping Ale, well, give something to them. I'm just so worried about Viper and Scout, how big they are right now. Even the Gale Force already completed for Viper, not even going the Immortal Shield bow, looking for that mobility from Tarzan and Ale.
Mate, the only thing I'm worried about is Tarzan's morale at this point, because I don't remember the last time he had an opportunity to go for one of his buffs. His Icon just getting chunked out. Narrowly misses the Scout of the Week here. And it's all about Scout and Jiejie so far this game for the side of EDG, right? They've had complete control of everywhere that they go. The big issue, though, is that Ale in the top side is Icon low in the mid lane. Undertow comes out from Jiejie just for good measure. See if he can get a hit in. It's not quite going to land in the end as Scout wants to dive. He just baits out the QE. Icon has to play so scared in this matchup.
Especially at this stage. Like, originally, this isn't actually the worst of matchups for Icon, but when you die level 1 and then get repeat gank several times, it ain't looking so hot. 3 kills, as we said, for Scout, and now with Rift Herald about to spawn in just under a minute's time, you can have EDG play up towards that again. You either take that mid lane turret, thanks to the Rift Herald, or you use a bot and make sure the Viper's got himself set up, although he actually might just take the turret himself as he starts to push in once more on bot side.
But first turret of the game is finished off by EDG first, and Flandre actually defends the wall on the top side, who Flandre has a blue buff. I'm not especially sure how. I guess Jiejie just let him have it so that he can wave clear a little more effectively. Ward will be cleared up at the top side, and it feels like Flandre perhaps will have a bit of a better grip on this top lane matchup now that he has a blue buff to be able to spam his abilities a little bit more, because that has been the big weak point for EDG, right, on the top side. Ale managing to find advantages thanks to the pressure that Tarzan was putting onto that top lane. But now, Jiejie is here to help his own top lane around.
And it feels like this is just such a sad way for LNG to potentially drop out of LPL playoffs. The draft not going their way, Jiejie playing so well with this strong jungle matchup.
Oh, Ale's not going to happily go out of this one just yet, mate. So he tries to find the all-in, but oh no. Oh no, Ale, you've gone. Yeah, he's going to be knocked underneath his own tower. Tarzan jumping in to try and be a part of this play. Ale survives TP from Icon as well. So they'll look for the Scout of the Week here. Scout could be in trouble, but Distortion gets him out to safety. EDG surviving. Lwandy moves up as well. And careful, Scout, because Distortion's on cooldown. He's going to be okay for the time being. Herald still in the pocket of Jiejie here, but not going to use it just yet with this many players from LNG around.
Well, they've just pushed in mid, right? So they can actually look for a potential play there if they want to, but not having the visibility on a lot of LNG members. Light!
Oh, the flash out from Light is the last split second, but it keeps him safe. Still at his heal as well, should the dive have gone on through. But the second that Light summoners are back, immediately they're making more plays, and Scout is trying to get sneaky with it, but Light will walk away, and instead it's just going to be a bit of poke onto Lwandy, but you don't get to poke Braum. He is literally unbreakable.
It does mean, though, you've got nobody really in this mid lane when this next wave crashes. Now, Icon steps up to the mark. Tarzan starting to move over to try and defend this, but look at the mini-map. Olaf already on this dragon. It's, again, like so much map pressure across the board for EDG right now. And unless you find some miracle play of Ale starting to pressure side lanes and maybe get 2 structures for himself, I don't really see where your win con as LNG is right now.
Oh. Well, Jiejie is going to be furious here, Dagda, because Tarzan very rudely just took Jiejie's wolves. That's his jungle, and Tarzan's invading right now in his own side of the map. Flandre and Ale 1v1ing in the top side. Ale not really able to get much damage down as Flandre has now finished off his Eclipse, so that's going to help him a lot in terms of those little matchups, those little trades. It's going to be a tower going down in the mid lane as well as Viper finishes that one off. That's his second tower that he's taken this game. And interestingly, look at this build from Viper. Not going for the shield bow, not going for the standard Ash build. Instead, going for a Gale Force.
You're going to be relying on that mobility again to get away from the likes of Tarzan and making sure that he's able to play safe. And honestly, who are you under threat from that you want to go like Immortal Shield Bow and a bit more defensive build? Icon, very far behind. No real backline threat. Yeah, Ale, sure, cool, but like between an Alistair, the LeBlanc burst, Flandre even being able to knock him away, you're just not in trouble. Yeah. You're just really not. Actually, he's going to go the Wit's End build second, where I thought maybe he does just go more the crit build, but I know like Wit's End just synchronizes so well with your Ranger's Fury that you just get so much damage off of it.
Icon gets vision, doesn't face check into Meiko here. Viper was nearby and they could have followed up with the Crystal Arrow, but it's just going to be Meiko taking a massive hit there from Icon. It's always good to hit a support as a mid laner because you always have like a 4-level advantage, so you look like you're super strong. It feels good to hit a support because they're just so puny. But unfortunately, he doesn't quite hit that hard onto the other players. Viper's going to be his ideal target, but whether or not he ever has a window is going to be a different question as the Herald gets a second charge. EDG. I mean, has there been a second in this game, Dagda, where EDG have not had complete control of the map?
But this is what we saw in the regular split. This is the EDG we expect to see coming into playoffs, and it's about time they showed up, to be honest, because you are facing elimination, and now they're starting to look strong. Apart from that kind of messy draft in the last game, this has been an EDG series from start to finish, and unfortunately from LNG, that clock is ticking, and it's not looking good for LNG.
Icon up in the top side, stacking some orbs up, maybe looks for a pick, but it's going to be the arrow out from Viper instead. The knock-up is there to the skies, sends them packing. And now down goes the tower. Lwandy comes out of his stopwatch, but he's run out of time anyway. 7-2 as EDG are running LNG down in the streets. There's nothing they can do about it. Ale desperately trying to find literally anything he can, but a red buff is just not going to answer for the massacre in the top lane.
And I mean, this is going to be a... Oh, hang on, Scout?
I feel like Scout can just escape this, or they could have Flandre TP in and look for a pick onto Ale instead. Ethereal Chains, does it land? Goes slightly wide here, but a Shock Blast in from Flandre. Ale is in dire straits, but Tarzan moving over will be able to protect his jungler. And it feels like so far, it has been, you know, Tarzan has actually had a very good series for himself, but in this game, with the matchup that he's been in, it's been incredibly difficult for him to have an impact, whereas Viper, every single game in this series, he's had free reign to do whatever he wanted.
And you gotta kind of ask, like, where's the Jiejie haters for this game, eh? Because he's been all over LNG in this game. The second he saw that Zac pick, I knew myself he was just gonna be licking his lips going, phenomenal. We get the LeBlanc, we get Flandre on this Jace. I got pressured, even with the Ashe as well, to invade on both sides of the map. They even go for this level 1 play to ensure Scout gets that early advantage. And ever since that, Tarzan's just been out of the game. Like, just has not had any opportunity to farm his jungle. And Jiejie is looking so dominant as a result.
And we have to return to the veterans in the mid lane as well. Because Scout versus Icon, as the series has gone on, you know, Icon had a really good game on that LeBlanc. He's had good moments, but generally speaking, this has been all about Scout in the 1v1 between these two veterans. Scout is the one that has succeeded internationally, and Icon is the one that's never made it before. And EDG looking like a dominant team here as they look for a tier 2 on the bottom side. Lwandy trying to block for Tarzan, who's taking massive damage. Viper's basically frontlining. He has no fear of LNG at this point in the game as Meiko jumps further in to try and finish Lwandy. He won't quite go down just yet. There we go. Scout finishes the job. EDG, they get the tower. They get a kill. They get a bonus dragon just as extra on top. Feels like EDG can have everything.
I mean, solo points, don't mind if they do for EDG. And again, like, you're now putting further pressure in where you get this deep vision. You can still look for picks with Scout, with Viper. Your team fighting is far superior to anything that LNG can try and account for. And you still have things like Baron up and available. Like, this is all being done by the 22-minute mark. There is still so much left on the map for EDG to try and snowball this game. And no matter how big Ale is, he cannot deal with this 5-man pressure from EDG. As soon as that turret falls, you get the engage coming through with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Scout has already pretty much popped Lwandy before this starts off, so they just take the consolation prize as they back away.
They will try and get away with themselves, but honestly, Dagda, we've got to just recap on where we're at in this game, right? It's a 6,000 gold lead for EDG. It's 4 minutes until an Ocean Soul spawns onto the map. Baron is available if EDG can find a window, or they can just look for Ale in the bottom side because Flandre survives the burst from Ale. With Meiko there, there's nothing more this Viego can do. And Ale, while he's had a really good series individually, doesn't feel like this is the kind of game where he has space to be able to impact what's happening.
I mean, just look at the items. Like 2 items across the board for EDG. Only a single item across LNG side. Like, they're just so far behind. And I mean, it's sad to see, right, Munch? Because we were hyping up LNG. I mean, I had LNG potentially taking this series as my prediction here today. And I thought that the big one was going to be these early skirmishes going their way. Getting to see the LNG that we've gotten all playoffs long. But today, just early skirmishes going astray in these early stages. Now you're looking as well at, like, well, just the drafts being completely different to what has been so creative and found so many of these LNG's victories. And to go out now off of, you know, the Zac pick not going that so hot just feels really sad.
Tarzan wants to try and find someone in the mid lane, but will not have his target here. And I want to quickly talk about the supports coming in as well, because we've been talking about Jiejie, about Scout. But when you think about EDG, when you think about the history of this organization, Meiko has been here the longest. As Lwandy gets caught, arrow goes wide. Lwandy in trouble here. The Unbreakable keeps him safe for now. Shock blasted. What is that damage as Viper finishes the kill off? The Gale Force used to execute the enemy support. And now Ale trying alive, still trying to keep himself alive, but Viper has so much damage as he gets underneath the tower. The Sterix will keep him safe, but it'll only keep him safe for a little while as EDG maintain their dominance and control of this map. And Jiejie goes for his 19th enemy red buff, I think, so far this game. It's absolutely insane. Tarzan goes for a last-ditch engage, but Meiko just knocks him out of safety and forces the flash. Ale returns to the play once more, but Scout has no fear in his heart as he will not retreat, and LNG can barely buy themselves space.
Flandre playing on a knife's edge here as LNG looking for something, but look at Scout. He's now caught them out.
Behind them, the chain of corruption goes wide as well. It feels like LNG are being herded right now. EDG, they're the collie of the LPL. They're the sheepdogs as they just rally LNG around Icon. Forced away here. Tier 2 mid lane goes down. EDG can retreat once more. It's 2 minutes until an Ocean Drake spawns, and that would be sold for EDG. Crystalline Arrow comes down. It's going to be onto Lwandy. He can't get the Unbreakable up. He's gone down. Tarzan trying to get into the middle of the fray. He's tanky, but Viper can step forward now. All the gap closes have been used already. The slow's coming on through. Shock blast in as well. A volley. Tarzan slingshots out to safety, but the Grump was the real goal for Jiejie. It always is.
It's just about sending a message to Tarzan. How dare you think you can farm a camp in this game? And I like the way we kind of got to see LNG eyeing up a potential re-engage.
Ale just flashed. Flandre's in trouble, flashes himself. Ale desperate to make the miracle play, but it just can't happen for LNG today.
So unable. LNG is now sitting 8,000 goals down. Second item started to be completed across the board, but you're seeing third items most of the way done for this EDG squad. The damage is so high, it's so difficult for them to try and find these fights that they're looking for. And we're getting a replay here of the flash over from Ale. It was a nice attempt, maybe getting a pick, maybe getting something back. And you kind of have to make these plays if you're looking to try and find some way back into this game, but it's so hard.
Yeah, last-ditch effort here for LNG to stay in playoffs, to stay in the top 4, because whoever wins this will go to top 3, and right now, a lot of teams sweating because EDG are on the cusp, and RNG is their last chance at second seed for LNG to win this one, but Tarzan is just locked up, can't slingshot out of this one, has to use his ulti there, finally gets the slingshot out, but Ale has to use his own ult, and now he's rooted himself. Flandre looking for a shock blast over the wall here, big damage. It's only going to hit onto Lwandy though. So Jiejie takes a bit of punishment himself. But again, EDG, they just never have to retreat. Another shock blast from Flandre. They could just stand their ground endlessly. And you know what will help them do that, Dagda? An Ocean Soul.
And this is, again, this is EDG. This is the team that has 5 domestic championships. This is the team that won MSI in 2015. This is a team that we expected to do well when it came in towards playoffs, especially after finishing second in the regular season. But they're just manhandling LNG at this stage. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Pushes, sieges, stronger for EDG. Team fight stronger for EDG. Side lanes, questionable, because Ale's really trying his hardest, but you just never get to go there because EDG have the run of the rest of the map.
And the thing is, like, Ale doing a really good job on the top side, but that's because EDG had 4 people in the bottom lane pretty much the entire game, right? I would hope that Ale can win the matchup when he's 2v1. Certainly a rough situation for LNG. And I want to remind everyone that Meiko has been on this team for years. He was on the roster that won MSI back in 2015. And it feels like he was one of the players that was heavily criticized for the series versus WE. Feels like he is back on form today. Ale forced out of the jungle, having to use that Heartbreaker early. With Ale's ult on cooldown, maybe that's honestly just a window to start Baron.
I mean, you got all the space that you need. You got all the vision control you need. Thank you, observers, who actually don't listen to me for toggling that right now. So you can actually see exactly how dark that area is at EDG. They just start that one up.
Yeah, the hilarious thing is you listen to LEC, they talk to the observers all the time. I'm not even sure our observers can speak any English. I have no idea. No. They come from the Chinese side. Blast going in, that slingshot on cooldown for Tarzan as well. He'd have to flash to steal this one. I believe it's just on cooldown, but Ale will dash away to safety. Baron denied, at least for the time being here. But hey, Ocean Soul, remember? We've got a lot of poke on the side of EDG, we've got a lot of sustain on the side of EDG, and we have basically no way of LNG winning the war of attrition. EDG can keep this up all day long. Now grouping up in the Russian Flandre's damage is out of this world. Scout will clear any vision, and we return to the pitch dark that LNG have to face check into. Tarzan goes in. It's going to be Cell Division surely procced here as he cannot find a way out, but he's pretty tanky, at least for the time being. There we go. Cell Division now as Lwandy forced to flash away. Tarzan will fall, but the TPs come out from Ale here to try and save his jungler, but he goes down anyway. Ale arrives on the fray, but Lwandy falls. Double for Viper. Icon at least answers the AD carry, but he goes down for his trouble. Jiejie is still here, which means Baron is on the cards.
And Flandre's damage as well. Ale trying to see if he can play Disruption. Light here as well. Scout might be able to burst someone out, but I think Ale's too tanky at the moment, so might be able to make it happen, but they're just going to back away from this.
Are they, though? Because Light doesn't get to back away from anything. Scout has a death warrant on his head. Now Ale is in trouble as well. The chains go wide, though. Meiko is going to close the gap here. He's got Moby Boots. You can't escape forever, Ale. Blast going over the wall. The headbutt nearly denying that. That would have been beautiful. Ale gets out. Still a flawless KDA right here for Ale in this game. He's 1-0-0, and he's determined to keep it that way.
Just about able to escape. I do love, though, that EDG are like, yeah, we can get Baron, but excuse me, there seems to be a Mr. Ale who's trespassed onto our side of the map. We need to go deal with him. Make sure that he can't get any more as a Scout. Can we please just stop bullying Tarzan at this stage? The man is done. He's nothing left.
Oh, wow. EDG in second place for total kills in the LPL at 11,000 now. Massive, massive achievement, massive milestone for EDG. 11,000 kills in the LPL. That is absolutely insane. As now, mid lane tower goes down. Baron in their hands. Remember, Tarzan doesn't pull the trigger on the engage just yet. There's a Scout of the Week onto Jiejie. Not too shabby. But that's going to be answered, isn't it? The Scout of the Week, not quite as powerful when you compare it to Flandre's Shock Blast. Scout in trouble in the bottom side. Ale desperate to find this window, but the chain comes in, the TP comes in, and Tarzan and Ale are left alone. The arrow is insane from Viper on his old teammate as well. The betrayal is too much for my heart, but it's not too much for EDG as they break open the base of LNG and Dagda. I think they might have done it. We got a 1v1 at the bottom side of the map right here as Ale will not be allowed to recall. Scout will not let him go anywhere but the grave. Lwandy trying to defend. There are no minions. EDG can't end just yet, but I think they might have just finished it.
Yeah, I mean, take your pick, right? You've got mid lane, bot lane pressing in, 16-3 in the scoreboard, an 11,000 gold lead to match the 11,000 kills of EDG. And now, one final push to push them forward in our playoffs.
And EDG looking for a top 3 finish, looking to put the final nail in the LNG miracle run. They take down LNG once again, and they prove that these old organizations are legendary for a reason.
And the curse of LNG proves true once more. unable to beat EDG in a series since the organization's inception, and EDG will go on to move to top 3 in our playoffs. And what a performance here today.
And so, FBX continue to sweat a little bit. They don't have a guaranteed world spot. RNG continue to sweat a little bit. They cannot get themselves second seed any longer. EDG have forced themselves forward when it comes to championship points and are very likely to be minimum our second seed in the LPL at this stage. Phenomenal performance here from EDG, and I think a breath of fresh air for EDG fans at home after their series against WE, after having to swap around junglers, after all of the turbulence of this playoffs. EDG showed that they are still that team that managed to grab the second seed in the regular season.
Exactly. And I think there's a term that we've repeated a lot today, which is just confidence. Like, this is going to be a confidence builder for EDG. And having the fact that, like, Viper and Meiko having strong performance in the bot lane, Flandre stepping up once again. We call him the Bastion of Hope, but honestly, he was kind of a shining beacon among the rest of EDG, who are also stepping up wonderfully. And Jiejie, phenomenal performance in that last game. Like, absolutely ran rings around Tarzan. And just really getting to grips with, hey, if you go for this Zac pick, here's what happens when you don't have strong lanes that can try and support you. You just get punished over and over again.
And let's just take a second as well to kind of give credit to LNG here. Yes, they've fallen to EDG at the end of this road, but ultimately making it the entire way along the bracket and having a damn good showing of it. Alley today as well, absolutely popping off. And